It's no secret Max Verstappen is one of the greatest Formula One drivers that has ever stood foot in the sport. That is without a shadow of a doubt, whether you love him or hate him. He has the amazing ability that few have, and one of those is to be very much adaptable to regulation changes, and he's taken a particular technique and secretly made it and enhanced upon it to the point that is helping Red Bull, with all the upgrades they brought in the second half of the season, challenge McLaren for that 5th Drivers' World title for him. Now, what I'm talking about here is the lift and coast technique. Now, this is primarily used and made famous by Lewis Hamilton, at least in public perception, as a method through which to look after things on a Formula One car. This could be the brakes, this could be to save fuel, or if you're a Ferrari driver this season, plank wear on numerous occasions. Now, what is it that he has secretly done with this technique? Well, he is further expanded upon the lift and coast technique and actually has incorporated it into his race pace techniques. How have we come to this conclusion? Well, eagle-eyed viewers took this fascinating shot of a comparison between McLaren and Red Bull's cars last weekend in Austin, Texas during the Grand Prix on Sunday. And it shows the ability Red Bull have over McLaren and all of the other teams seemingly to run the cars and set them up much lower towards the surface than that of all of their competitors. This enables them, as a result of that, to extract more of the maximum performance out of their RB21 in comparison to their competitors. And it all revolves around Max Verstappen's technique. So what exactly is Max doing which is enabling the Red Bull team, with all of the upgrades they brought in the second half of the season, bring more performance and extract more than all of the other teams can? Let me break it down for you. And it all revolves around the braking phase of a Formula One car at every circuit we go to. Very quickly before we go any further, if you're enjoying the video thus far, do hit the like button, share this out across social medias, and I would greatly appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed the content thus far on my journey to 20,000 subs here on F1 Unraveled. Right, let's get on with this video. So what is Max doing with the lift and coast technique, which is helping the Red Bull team run the car lower to the ground? Well, it all revolves around the actual braking zones, the braking phase for every corner on a Formula One circuit. Now, a brief explanation of that. You have 3 phases of a braking zone. You have the initial period where you come on the brakes, then you have the actual mid-corner phase, and then you have the corner exit. Now, naturally, if you're not utilizing a lift and coast technique and you just apply the brakes at, say, the 100-meter mark during a race stint, what happens to all the Formula One cars is that the car, when the brakes are applied, dives down into the track. Then you have the subsequent 2 phases. Now, of course, the issue with that is it then scrubs a lot of the balance and downforce as a result, because you have an aero platform that you've set your car up at. And as a result of that, all of the teams have to raise the ride height that much more than they would ideally want as a result of that. Now, how does lift and coast come into this and the technique that Max uses? Well, normally lift and coast is only used as a method through which to either save something on the car, save fuel, save your brakes, or to look after plank wear. But Max has introduced this into his driving style throughout this ground effect era, I would presume, even though it's only kind of just come to light. And it enables him to utilize lift and coast. Now, essentially, if you're lifting off of the accelerator, say at the 200-meter mark, and you're letting the car naturally scrub speed off, then when you actually apply the brakes at, say, the 100-meter mark, there is going to be a lot less dive at the front of the car, because a lot of that speed has naturally come away from the car as a result of lift and coast. Therefore, As a result of that and utilizing it throughout the race, Red Bull are then enabled to lower their ride height as a result of that. And therefore, of course, that means you're going to get much more performance out of your floor through the Venturi tunnels because you're utilizing more of it. You're sealing that floor more than you would in comparison to other teams. And that is where Red Bull, as thanks to Max Verstappen utilizing this technique, is enabled them to further enhance the performance of the RB21. And that is because, of course, every car has a peak level of downforce that they have, but they cannot naturally run it to that peak level because of all these extra parameters, which is one of them which we're discussing right now. So that is the ingenious technique that Max has taken, which was used as a means to save things on a car and actually incorporate it into his natural race driving style to enable Red Bull to run that car much lower to the surface, therefore improving the downforce on the car, not only in the race of course, but during qualifying. And that is going to be the key indicator, I would believe, in the turnaround for Red Bull, but also the technique that could bring a 5th driver's world title to Max Verstappen. And of course, all of this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Red Bull improving the RB21 across the second half of the season, with introductions of upgrades to the front wing and their floor since the Zandvoort Grand Prix in this second half, with subsequent tweaks to the front wing to further enhance the downforce that they can produce. That is the key point, the key catalyst behind everything that we're witnessing currently in Formula One race weekend in, race weekend out. Without that, Max, I do not believe, would be able to utilize this lift and coast technique and improve upon the performance ceiling that was within this RB21 prior to the upgrades. So it is both Red Bull's upgrades and Verstappen's lift and coast technique in tandem which have brought about this championship challenge. Right guys, that is the story. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. If you have, do leave a like on it. Subscribe to F1 Unraveled here if you've enjoyed this breakdown of the technique Max used, and turn on notifications for all future content here on the channel. I will be seeing you, I believe, across this Mexico Grand Prix weekend. Catch you a little later.